Hey, what is up internet? Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you have been watching my videos, you would know that I reviewed the Galaxy S23 back in February when it was launched in India. And in that video, I claimed that this was my favorite phone of the year back then. Well, I've been using this guy for just over 6 months now. And the question is it still my favorite phone of the year? Now, if you haven't watched my full review of the S23, I will leave the link to that in the description. Would highly recommend you watch that first because this video would be more about how the S23 has aged over time. Did the design wear off? What about the software update? And most importantly, how has been the battery life after all these software updates? Let's try to answer these questions. Alright then, let's start with the design. Now the number one reason I went with the regular Galaxy S23, in fact it was the same reason I went for the regular Galaxy S22 and the S21 a couple of years ago, was the compact form factor. Now in a world where everyone wants a big phone, I am someone who still appreciates how the regular Galaxy S23 feels in the hand. Now I really like this glass back in this really nice green color, and it hasn't taken any real beating honestly, and to be fair, I did use a case almost all the time, even though I'm still yet to find a good leather case for this device. So if you have a suggestion, please do let me know in the comment section below. Now this glass back has aged well over time. It hasn't really taken any scratches. It is also a matte finish, so it does take fingerprints very nicely, unlike what we saw with my Zenfone 9, which of course does feel better in the hand, but because it's made out of plastic and had that texture, it saw a lot of scratches and smudges after the 6 months mark. Now at the front, I also appreciate the symmetrical bezels around the display. Again, it's not that big of a deal for me, but if it's there, you really get used to it. And another thing that I've really gotten used to on the Galaxy S23 is the display. It's 6.2 inches, 1080p, 120Hz, AMOLED, and I think again, I've said this before and I'll say this again, Samsung makes one of the best displays for phones out there. I mean, the colors are so nice on this display is that it's very difficult for me to switch to another phone even though it has a very similar AMOLED display. Now, the only thing missing here, and I think I did mention this in my full review as well, is LTPO, and I think Samsung is rumored to bring LTPO displays to all S24 models next year, so let's hope for the best. Anyway, one of the most important things that you actually get to know when you use a phone this long is software updates, because a lot of companies will promise you a lot of things at the launch, but they never really materialize, at least in the desired timelines. But thankfully, S23 is not that. Samsung is really working hard and it's up there with Pixel phones when it comes to software updates. Now, I'm currently on the August update that I think I got a couple of days back here in India, and this boy has also received Android 14 beta in some regions, and the Indian variant is expected to get it sometime around next week. But you get my point, right? Samsung is not only working to upgrade hardware, they're equally working hard to actually provide you the best software experience as well. And the good thing is they're not forgetting the older flagship. So the Galaxy S22 will also get the Android 14 beta before they release the stable version for the device sometime later in the year. But otherwise, OneUI 5.1 on the S23 is a major improvement from last year. With Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 inside, this thing is still a beast when it comes to day-to-day performance even after 6 months. I have never faced any major lag while using this phone. The animations are also relatively smooth now, and on top of that, you still get all the features from OneUI. For example, Bixby routines will automatically keep my phone to mute as soon as I reach my office location, or if I want to just edit a picture or a document quickly, I can connect my phone to a monitor using Samsung DeX. I can get that done within minutes. And I have not even talked about all the customizations and module you get with Good Lock. In fact, leave a comment down below if you want me to make a dedicated video just on the Good Lock. But coming back to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, yes, it is more powerful and also it's more efficient when compared to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 from last year, but if used extensively, the S23 can get slightly warm. Again, it depends a lot on where you live. It's currently peak summers here in India with temperatures rising up to about 40 degrees in afternoon. So with those temperatures, this can get warm. Again, it's not that big of a deal, but I thought it's still worth mentioning. But as I just mentioned, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 is also much more efficient than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. So naturally, the S23 saw a big push in the battery life because it actually has a larger physical battery inside as well. Now this guy can easily again last me a full day with medium usage, but I would say nothing beyond that. Now over the past 6 months, my screen on time has gone down a little bit, but for some reason, I still don't feel confident while taking this phone out with only 30% battery left. The 25-watt charger, which by the way is of course not included in the box, doesn't help either. So for next year, I really hope Samsung bumps up the physical capacity, but then also the charging speed on the regular S24, even though I don't see the charger making a comeback inside the box anytime now. Now, this might sound funny, but I have actually met a lot of people who still believe that companies make the camera performance go down over time with software updates. Now, fortunately, S23 is not that old enough because the pictures taken from this camera system are still great. Now, I was personally bummed to see the same camera system as last year, but Samsung's post-image processing does the trick almost all the time. The primary 50 megapixel sensor, as expected, takes the best shots. The wide angle is not that bad too, honestly, but I have slowly started to like the telephoto more than ever. Now, I was always someone who would prefer an ultra wide over telephoto, but in the last 6 months or so, I would say I've been enjoying using the telephoto more than the ultra wide on the Galaxy S23. I also enjoy taking the pictures of the moon, even though I know it's not entirely real, but why not, especially when your country has just landed on the moon. Now, I'm not going to talk in detail about these pictures, but something that has been in the news of late is Samsung's infamous camera shutter lag. So basically what happens is when you're inside the camera app and you take a lot of pictures in a quick succession, the camera might lag and take a second or a half in some of those shots. Now this is not something new. In fact, S22 had it, and as far as I remember, S21 also had it. And I think Samsung should really fix this, even though it was not that big of a deal for me, and you can also fix through the camera assistant module on the Good Log, but I can't deny it's not there. And another issue, although I don't think it's actually an issue, but let's call it that for now, is when you take a picture of a flat surface like a document or maybe a book, the camera will blur some parts of the frame. Now again, a lot of people started complaining about this on Reddit and other forums, but I think this has more to do with the characteristic of the camera lens itself than some software or hardware bug. Other than that, I like the haptics on the Galaxy S23. The speaker quality is great too. The in-display ultrasonic fingerprint scanner works well most of the time, and I also enjoyed a lot using the front camera on the S23. The only thing, and I think most of the people out there would agree, I don't like on the S23 is still the Bixby. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I of course use Google Assistant. But yes guys, there you have it. This was my 6 months with the Galaxy S23, and unlike the S22, I can still comfortably recommend S23, especially with the festive season coming up in India, that can actually see this go down as low as rupees 55,000. But till then, if you found this video helpful, go smash that like button, subscribe to TQnet, and it would mean the world to me. Until then, keep asking until I see you in the next one.